My 18-year-old sister is facing college this fall. She does not currently have her own car, but needs one considering she will be traveling to school at the beginning of the school year while staying at home. I am 27 years old. I decided to help her purchase a car as a graduation gift. Offered to pay the first $5,000 of her monthly payments. My sister receives an almost full scholarship and lives at home, so this will be her main regular expense besides school fees and supplies. My idea is to provide her with financial support for the beginning stages of her adult life. This will allow her to save more money for emergencies in the future. With her parents, we initially discussed a limit of $25,000 to $30,000 to buy a car. It's not a car for years to come, but it needs to be reliable and affordable. This is the first car for my sister to use for college, so it is important that it fits her needs. Yesterday, my parents and my sister made the decision to purchase a new Jeep. This left me disappointed and perplexed. Not only did my parents purchase a new vehicle for $65,000, but they also took out a loan with a down payment of $10,000 at a high interest rate. I feel frustration because my parents can't afford such an expense on their own and can't even handle the loan payments. My reasons for helping with the payments are due to the fact that my sister does not yet have a steady source of income, which is a necessary first step before buying a car. I'm furious. The $5,000 I set aside for her will be gone before summer if we spend it on a car and loan payments. What's more, they know I'm furious, but they don't care. My mom spent an hour talking about how my sister's eyes lit up at the sight of the car, and you wouldn't say no if you were there either. We talked about it for months. My sister and parents know 100% that she won't be able to afford this car, but right now they don't care. I'm thinking about turning it down. I will tell them to return the car and we will go back to the original plan, or I will just put the $5,000 into a bond for my sister. I want to give my opinion on this plan. Edited. Quick clarification. My gift to her totaled $5,000 that will be used for monthly payments. The way I worded it was odd. She had savings to cover what I was going to pay for the first $5,000 monthly payments. After that, as far as the comments about the original purchase price of the car, you decided that $25,000 to $30,000 was very high. I agree, that is a pretty high amount for an unemployed college student, which should have been the absolute maximum. And we need to think very carefully about the total amount of fees included. I advised them to go for an amount between $10,000 to $15,000, but they talked me down to $25,000 to $30,000 maximum. You are not an idiot. They all need to learn a lesson from their own bitter experience. It seems everyone just assumed you would step in and help once she started drowning in debt. They will blame you too. Tell them to take the Jeep or deal with it themselves. I would expect that kind of decision from a teenager, but not from a parent, especially when they can't pay themselves. If you allow this purchase, you will end up paying for the Jeep out of guilt. When the day comes that no one can pay for it, that's when they will start feeling guilty. That was incredibly lousy of you. I don't know how they can refuse to buy it. Car companies do everything they can to make it impossible to back out of a purchase. You need to find out if the deal is already done, if you can get out of the deal. Jeep, not even a car with a known excellent track record in terms of repairs, etc. And how much is the monthly annual insurance on that Jeep? Jesus, what a mess. Yeah, what the hell, I'm well off, and I wouldn't think of spending that much money on a car, let alone your first-hand car when you're not working. That salary should be the $800,1000 your sister lives on in cuckoo land. And your parents have no brains either, apparently. I wouldn't give her $5,000 in benefits, she has a refund. That crap, she'll statistically break it anyway. Update on the breakup insurance. I also just got confirmation that the deal was finalized yesterday. The Jeep is non-refundable. I was wrong about how used and new cars are treated under the cooling off period laws. She and my parents screwed up. Thanks for the advice. I'm going to mull it over tonight and figure out how much of this circus I want to be a part of. Next story. I'm 27 years old, I'm a woman. My boyfriend is 36. He was married when he was a little over 20. He has 2 children with his ex. He has 3 family photos in his house. She is in them as well. In one of the pictures, she is in the middle with the kids. In another, he is with the kids and she is on the right in the background. In the third photo, he and she are together with the 2 kids and Disney's Mickey Mouse. Her presence makes me dislike her. I have asked him several times to remove the pictures, but he says they are special memories for the kids. Yesterday, I decided to take action, used the scanning app on my phone, then paid for a service on Fiverr to remove it from the photos. Now all 3 photos look professional, without her. After that, I went to Walmart and had them print out new photos of the same size, put them in frames and put the originals in my desk drawer. When my boyfriend got home, I asked him if he noticed any changes. He hadn't noticed anything, and I suspected the pictures looked great now. We still have him and his kids. I pointed to one of the photos. He got angry, called me Jealous Nancy. I admit I smiled, because what is a jealous Nancy? That only made him angrier. He demanded the ancient pictures back and said he was going to put them back up. Then gave me an ultimatum: either accept his past relationship or move on. I told him I didn't want to be with Jealous Nancy. He asked me to leave. I haven't heard from him since, but I hope he gets over it. That woman really was a nightmare for me. I hate to start this thread, but she treated me with cruelty. He even cut off all contact with her except via text messages to discuss child-related issues. I have every right to not see her face. One of the pictures in his bedroom has her in it though. Maybe I should just get over it. I felt like I was doing him a favor since I hadn't completely excluded her from his life as originally intended. Edited. I developed a great relationship with his children. I was not the other woman in the relationship. They were divorced long before I met him. There was infidelity in their relationship. She cheated on him with 2 men as far as we know, which is why they divorced. When I laughed, he asked me to leave. Opie, you showed such ignorance. It sounds like your boyfriend realized he wasn't dealing with an adult. Your lack of self-awareness in all of this confirms his point. You're an idiot who is actually upset. Get help, girl. She openly admitted she was thinking about cutting up his family photos. That's absolutely insane. And she thinks she somehow did him a favor just by removing his ex-wife from their family photos. It's so horrifying. I know she's relatively young, she's 27, but she's still too old to think that any of these actions aren't irrational and deeply problematic. She needs therapy, and frankly, she shouldn't go near vulnerable children. Her instincts are also spot on to me. Actually, this woman was horrible to me. I'm not going to start with this one, but she was abusive to me. A nice long post details all the steps of scanning photos, photoshopping his ex, going to Walmart to print them out and put them in frames. She can't even give a single example of something horrible this woman did to her. Has she ever thought that maybe kids like to keep pictures of their mom at home? And those memories when they'd visit their daddy? Lol, other people have feelings too, Opie. Now I want to tell a different story. My husband has a habit of not notifying me when guests are coming over. Frankly speaking, it makes me tired. We have a young child, and there have been at least 15 occasions when he has invited his mother or sister without telling me. Once, just 4 days after giving birth, his mother suddenly showed up at our house. That day was a Saturday. Our daughters had gone outside 20 minutes before. I had literally just put the infant to bed while continuing to breastfeed. Suddenly, my husband and mother-in-law walked into the bedroom. I woke up to my husband adjusting my shirt to make it look decent and said, "Hi, my mom is here to see us." I replied that I had just put the baby to bed, so we were in no condition to receive visitors. My husband whispered, "Baby, she drove 3 hours to see us. You can sleep when she leaves." This topic has been discussed many times before. I made my displeasure with unannounced visits clear. This made me furious and demanded that he leave the room. In response, my mother-in-law began to insist and even tried to pull the blanket off me. I reacted sharply and told her that she had come here for nothing, as my daughter and I were not going to get up for an uninvited guest. Let her leave. The husband looked embarrassed. He took his mom under his arm and led her out of the room while she complained of disrespect. After a while, I heard the front door slam and I fell back asleep. About an hour and a half later, I woke up to find my husband sitting at the kitchen island looking visibly angry. As soon as he noticed me, he flared up and stated that he couldn't believe how I had embarrassed him and that it wouldn't hurt for me to spend at least half an hour with his mother. I re-emphasized to him that I had no desire to receive unannounced guests. He continues to assure me that he has informed me of everything in advance, although I am absolutely certain that this is not the case. I feel left in the dark in my own home. My husband tries to argue that his mother wasted 3 hours traveling for nothing, but I don't care. I was tired and I just needed sleep. An unexpected visit wasn't part of my plan. It's not your fault. You've already told your husband about the need to warn you when guests are coming. Yet, he brought his mother right into your bedroom to wake you up. This is a clear violation of privacy which baffles me. Plus, your husband had 3 hours to warn you of your mother's arrival, since that's how long it takes to drive to your house. What was he doing for those 3 hours before she arrived? Why didn't he take the time to at least send a text message? Your husband and his mother could have spent time together while you and the baby rested. If she drove 3 hours, she could have waited a bit after she arrived. Your husband showed disrespect for your feelings, desires, and boundaries. He probably realized there could be conflict if you knew about the visit ahead of time, so he chose to keep silent. It seems like the problems in your relationship have been dragging on for a long time. Maybe in the future your mother-in-law can better coordinate her visits, especially if she has to make the 3-hour drive to see you. She needs to learn how to give advance notice, since even the simplest phones allow you to send messages. My next story. I'm a girl of 16 and my mom is 49 years old, and she and I are in joint therapy. This is probably a step we should have taken 6 or 7 years ago. However, my mom had her own ideas about how things should work out and truly believed that everything would happen on its own. To understand our situation, it is important to know some of the details of our lives. My father died when I was only 7 years old. My parents were happily together, having started their relationship as teenagers. My mom never faced loneliness. A year after my father's death, my mom started dating men again. She met her current husband, and soon they became inseparable. I remember her sitting down next to me and talking about her encounters, confessing that she wished she had started dating much earlier. The loneliness was unbearable for her, and after meeting my future stepfather, she quickly fell in love. Their wedding took place when I was a teenager. I had only known Scene for 4 months when he and my mom got married. My mom was very happy. I, on the other hand, felt less happy. Scene is a decent man. I can see how much he loves my mom. I also realized that he would want me to treat him like a real parent. He doesn't want to be just my mom's husband or unwanted stepfather to me. Those are his own words. I do not aspire to a father-daughter relationship with Scene or anyone who is not my real father. My mom really wanted that. She insisted that Scene say his vows at their wedding. She wished for me to hold his hand in the wedding photos. My mom was disappointed when that didn't happen. She wanted me to accept him as a member of the family. Mom also wished that I had invited Scene to my hockey practice family day, an event my dad went to for the first 3 years. She regularly reminded me of this every year. She even bought cards for my dad before they had kids and was upset when I purchased a card with different text after the kids were born. After years of disagreement, my mom decided we needed therapy. She said I needed to accept that she had remarried and found a way to adapt to the changes. She was tired of my resistance. Last week, I finally decided to open up and talk about it. I acknowledged to my mom and therapist that I may still need to accept her new marriage. But I also pointed out that the family environment would no longer be the same as it was when Dad was alive. I explained that we now had a different type of family that would never function in the same way as before. I said that I would never see Scene as a father, and our relationship would always be different from the one I had with my dad. The therapist agreed with what I said, but my mom was outraged. She accused the therapist of ignoring the possibility that adoptive families could be just as wonderful as biological families. Mom also expressed the idea that I was the only reason our family couldn't go back to the way things were. You're not an idiot. That perception seems pretty unrealistic. It sounds like your mom created a world in her imagination where you were supposed to instantly accept her new husband as a father. I'm glad she recognized the need for therapy, but it's important that she listens to you. Her tendency to insist on her own all these years, ignoring your feelings, was one of the reasons her idea of family didn't work. She never considered that by stepping back and supporting you, you could have developed your relationship with your stepfather at a natural pace. Perhaps over time you could have developed a good relationship with him, even if you don't call him dad or interact the way she wants you to. I'm sorry that sounds so harsh, but life isn't like Hallmark movies. A story that really surprised me. My sister-in-law, who is 29 years old, does contemporary art. I can't explain exactly what it is, but it's really abstract. I personally don't really appreciate her style of art. That's just my opinion. Her work, full of color on canvases, carries a deep meaning that I unfortunately don't always understand. She recently exhibited her work at a local art show, or rather, her work will be shown this Friday. The whole family received invitations and tickets were $30. Personally, I'd rather spend that money on something else, considering I don't admire that kind of art. This bodes well for a day full of talking about what I like about art, which I find rather tedious. So I declined, saying I had another event planned. She called me to reconsider my decision, but my answer remained negative. Then she started coaxing me, claiming that I just didn't like her art. When she said this for the third time, I didn't hold back and admitted that I really didn't admire her work and thought it was a waste of money. She took offense, called me an idiot, and hung up on me. I ended up going to the exhibit with everyone else. You recently said no, but in fact, you may have had plans of your own that she knew about. However, your response meant that she was now part of your family. Spending $30 to support her art show should not be a big problem for you. You consider it a waste of money and you say it right to her face. This reflects how you feel about your daughter-in-law. If your relationship with her is good, supporting her seems like a simple gesture. Calling it a waste is not the best thing to do. Many parents don't like attending school plays or sporting events where the kids are more interested in the days than the game. We only have to be at college graduation ceremonies for a few minutes, but we still go to support the family. It doesn't kill us to agree to spend the day for the joy of the child and daughter-in-law. I disagree with a past comment. There is a difference between attending your own child's concert, where you don't want to go, and paying to see the work of an adult who is not your child. Not being an idiot means not spending money to feel miserable or create a fake atmosphere. You tried to explain to her, but she keeps insisting, not stopping until she gets the reaction she wants from you.